Welcome back everybody to a Last Day on Earth perspective video. Yes, this video is a little different. I want to put stuff into perspective. I want to take a look at something that really deserves a lot more attention than it's currently getting. I suppose let's get into that. As always, if you haven't already, consider subscribing, join my Discord, follow my Twitter, you know the drill, let's get into it. So, the thing I want to bring up this time is multiplayer. Do you guys remember that Last Day on Earth is technically a multiplayer game? Well, it's single player and multiplayer. Technically, there is a multiplayer side which you can play on. Now, let's take a look at something. Do you guys remember when the last multiplayer update was? Well, let me put it into perspective. It was February 24th of this year. That was what? More than that. Almost like 7 months ago, I want to say? No, 6 months ago. Yeah, I think so. That was 6 months ago. And that update was the retail, bonds, and PvP update. While I agree that was an absolutely massive update, and definitely well worth, it's got me wondering, what's going on right now? If we look even before that, the previous multiplayer updates was September 30th, 2020, Season 11. Season 11 was just that shop thing, and they had skins for choppers. That was the update. So, this update, yeah, it was pretty rough. I don't think people were the fan. You guys remember I gave it the lowest possible tier. You remember how I make these sort of videos, and I'll talk about a topic like the LDUE Android iOS update style fiasco, and something changes. So, that's what I'm hoping with this video. Let's take a quick second to go back to Last Day on Earth's most recent update teases. Let's take a look at some of these teasers that they've been dropping. While you're busy deciphering the intelligence data about the location of Season 17, boom. Now, these things don't really look like Season 16, do they? Now, these things sort of look like Season 16, so let's take that with a grain of salt. But let's look at that first part. While you're busy deciphering the intelligence data about the location of Season 17, right? So that means the location, wherever that location may be, if it's on the creator side or if it's on the single player side, that will determine where the next update's going to be, right? And that update will probably lead us into, say, October, if I had to guess. They did mention September as the possible release date for the next update, so there's that. But, right there, they did drop it. Many of you answered correctly, pointing to the sector where the new location is situated. Any idea where that might be? And then they have winners for whoever guessed it. But, if we take a look at the picture, that's the single player base. And that looks like an event, sort of. You know how like that main season hub, they do that? Yeah, that's what I would guess it would be. But whatever it might be, the season hub, event, whatever, it's not on the creator side. That is clearly single player. We can tell. The next update is not multiplayer. So sort of replying to the why. Why this video, why now? Well, I've had, I want to say, a little bit of luck when it comes to making these sort of commentary style videos and getting LDUE to sort of notice. As I mentioned earlier in the video, the Android iOS update style fiasco and all of those sorts of things, and the permanent content issue and a couple other of those sorts of issues I've made commentary videos on, talked about the community consensus, which I will get to in a minute, and sort of talked about what my thoughts are on them and how I think that's going. And apparently stuff changed. So, that's what I'm doing with this video. Again, just to repeat that. Anywho, community consensus. I get it. There are probably an obscure amount of people playing multiplayer. Maybe I'm just biased because I see things on the Last Day on Earth Discord server with everyday players coming in. I watch Creator Lounge. I have a clan full of active people now. But if you're just like your average player going through the motions, I suppose I could see why single player would be the appealing thing, but I guess it's because multiplayer has just been sort of left in the dust for the past 6 months. There has not been a single change besides maybe a skin retexture from one of these seasons or something like that, that tweaked the multiplayer side of things over this past year. PvP has run dry with teamers. Bonds are cool, I guess. I mean, heck, my clanmate is pretty much maxed out, which is that's insane. I don't know how that's possible, but I'm nowhere near there. But yeah, if we look at what's come over this past year, let's take a look at the past year, 2021, of all of the updates. All right, so every update in 2021 that's been single player or multiplayer. single player, you've had the lab updates, you had Season 16, you had level 5 walls, you have, all of that. Season 15 with those loot crates, I believe 14, if I can remember what season that even was. Season 13, which was the boat and Dead Island and Titanium, all of those new resources and that sort of thing. I believe that was 2021, I want to say. I don't know, ZD in the editing will tell you for sure. Multiplayer has just had one update. Granted, it was a pretty big update, and I am very glad that that update was a thing, but it still confuses me why. I swear, for those of you who don't know, Kafir has two different teams, a single player team and a multiplayer team. These teams work separately from one another, and they release their updates whenever. So the single player team is able to crack out updates. Multiplayer team has done one thing 6 months ago. I get it. This might be the norm for other games like Minecraft, where you have one update throughout the entirety of the year. But LDUE has sort of given itself that reputation to, have monthly updates. You look at LDUE YouTube, and it dies if there isn't an update going on. You look at Minecraft on YouTube, and it will survive if they decided to stop updating tomorrow. Look at some of those servers that haven't updated. They're fine. LDUE doesn't work like that. So I guess that's really sort of my point at the end of the day. Multiplayer needs an update. The multiplayer community is small, and they're a group of very dedicated players. I'm sure some of them might even play if they never decided to update multiplayer again. But at the same time, it's quite interesting to look at these things, and I guess sort of speculate when the next multiplayer update would come, right? Anywho, Kafir, if you're watching this video, drop the next multiplayer update. I know Season 17 is not multiplayer, but at the very least, we could have a second one before the end of the year. Something massive, maybe. I don't know. You guys are good with this stuff. Surprise me. Maybe reinvent PvP. Mad Dogs Arena. All of that stuff that I've seen people throw around. Before I do head off, if you're a viewer, leave your opinions in the comments below. I do know that Kafir tends to take a look at some of these videos. So maybe we will get lucky. Maybe Kafir will see just how many people are angry about the lack of multiplayer stuff in the game. So please, leave your voices in the comments below. I will try and get them to see this video. Sometimes they just tend to see it. I've never once forced these commentary videos on them, but yet every single time I've talked about something like the Android update iOS style fiasco, or the lack of permanent content, or something like that, Kafir has really taken a hardline stance and addressed it. So please leave your comments below. Hopefully they will see it. Hopefully they will read it. I'm almost certain they might. Usually they tend to read these things, but again, the comments probably one of the best spots. I certainly will be reading all of them. I'm certain that LDUE staffers will be reading all of them, and we'll try and get our feedback to the devs in that way. Obviously, we can't control the next update, otherwise I would have made a multiplayer update and not have to make this video. Anywho, this has been ZD. Subscribe, ZD out.